Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Mind Over Money. I'm Abdul, and I'm here with my friends today.
Hey everyone, I'm Viraj. I'm really excited for today's podcast.
What's up, guys? Bilan in the house.
And I'm Khalid. Today we're diving into a topic that hits home for many of us: how lower and middle income households can boost their financial stability.
Exactly. We'll also be exploring practical strategies, sprinkle in some behavioral economic insights, and maybe share personal stories along the way.
Sounds interesting. So let's start with the basics. Why do many of us struggle with saving money, even when we know it's important?
I think a lot of it comes down to present bias. We prioritize immediate rewards over future benefits, like choosing to order takeout instead of cooking at home, because it feels good. Now, even though saving the money would benefit us later.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not just about the willpower. Our brains are wired this way. I remember reading about a study where people were more likely to choose smaller, immediate rewards over large, delayed ones. It's common cognitive bias.
That's right. And for low income households, the challenge is even greater. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's hard to think about long term savings. Immediate needs take precedence over everything else.
Also, there's the issue of inattention. With so many daily stresses, things like budgeting and saving can fall by the wayside. It's not intentional, of course, it's just hard to focus on everything.
Yo, Viraj, remember that thing we learned about framing? How the same info can be interpreted differently depending on how it's presented?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Like telling someone you could lose $200 if you don't start saving. Sounds way scarier than you could gain $200.
Exactly. Same amount, just a different vibe. That's why financial education programs should frame things around what people actually might lose if they don't act on it.
And people respond emotionally. That's why emotional triggers work better than charts and spreadsheets.
That's so true. I think that's where the stories come in. Like, Bilan, didn't you tell me your uncle joined one of those community saving circles?
Yeah. In his neighborhood, they all pitched in $100 a month and takes turn withdrawing it. It's not even techie, but it works because of the social norms. Everyone's doing it, so you feel like you should do.
Uh, that's actually surprising and also powerful. People want to do what their peers are doing. Peer
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah, and that's called herd behavior. We follow the crowd even with money.
That's so true. Which means we can use that to our advantage. If we normalize saving, budgeting, even talking about money, that can shift behavior.
Here's an idea. What if banks or apps showed how many people in your age group are saving? Like 75% of the people of your age save $200 this month.
Yo, that would actually motivate me. That's some peer pressure I could actually use in my life.
So, how can we counteract these biases? One effective method is using nudges, subtle changes in the way choices are presented to encourage better decisions.
Like setting up automatic transfers to your savings account. Is it? If a portion of your paycheck is automatically saved, you are less likely to miss it. It's simple nudges that can make a big difference.
Yeah, so true. And speaking of nudges, I actually came across this initiative called Refund to Savings. It's a collaboration between researchers and tax software companies to encourage people to save a portion of their tax refunds um, by simply prompting users with the option to save. They saw an increase in savings rate, which is quite surprising.
It's actually a cool example. Another strategy is mental accounting, categorizing money for specific purposes. So, what that means is when we label money as rent or groceries, we are less likely to spend it on other things.
Yeah, Viraj, I've started doing that with my finances as well. I have separate accounts for different expenses, and it really helps me stay on track.
Same, I could second that.
Yo, you forgot about the commitment devices. These are the tools or the agreements that helps us to stick with our goals. For instance, some people use apps like penalized them financially if they don't meet their savings target.
Um, I read about that in a program called Borrow Less Tomorrow. They use commitment devices to help people reduce debt. So participants set up accelerated prepayment plans with reminders and peer support, which led to significant debt reduction.
Wow, that's powerful. It shows how combining behavioral insights with practical tools can lead to real change. Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of real world applications, I recently came across an article on Wikipedia on individual development accounts. These are match saving accounts designed to help low income individuals save for specific goals like buying a home or even starting a business. The matching component provides us an extra incentive to save.
Whoa, that's interesting. It reminds me of conditional cash transfer programs in countries like Mexico, Brazil, where families receive money if they meet certain conditions, like ensuring the kids attend school. These programs have been effective in reducing poverty and improving education outcomes.
And also in the realm of policy, I think the U.S. government has been incorporating behavioral economics into most of its programs, at least. The Social and Behavioral Sciences team was established to apply behavioral insights to improve government services. For example, they send personalized text reminders to students to complete financial aid forms, which increase college enrollment rates.
It's actually encouraging to see these concepts being applied at both individual and policy levels. It shows the versatility of and impact of behavioral economics.
Yep. So let's get into some actionable tips for our listeners. What are some practical steps they can take to improve their financial stability?
First, set clear, achievable saving goals. Instead of saying, I want to save money, specify an amount and a deadline. This makes the goal more tangible and attainable.
Yeah, that's true. Secondly, maybe leverage technology. Use apps that round up your purchases and save the change, I think. Or set up automatic transfers to your savings account, which could work.
That's a good one. Adding on to that, I feel like you should also create a budget and stick to it. Track your income and expenses to understand where your money is going. This awareness can help you identify areas and maybe cut back and save more.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you could even consider joining community saving groups. These groups provide support and accountability, making it easier to stay committed to your saving goals.
Before we wrap up, let's touch on overcoming common biases. We have mentioned present biases, but there's also loss aversion. We fear losses more than we value gains.
Yeah.
That's why seeing a dip in your savings account can feel so discouraging.
Very much, actually. Which is why framing matters. Because if you frame savings as avoiding a loss rather than making a gain, it could be more motivating, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. That's like telling someone you could lose $500 this year if you don't budget versus you could save 500. Same outcome but different emotional impact.
Yep. So, boys, to close everything out, what have we learned today? Behavioral economics offers real research-backed strategies to help households, especially those with lower and middle incomes, take control of their finances.
That's right.
That's right. From nudges and commitment devices to community-based programs and government interventions, there's no shortage of tools available.
Yeah, and the key to understanding is that how we behave and designing the systems that actually support us, not punish us, or our natural tendencies.
I think that's all for today. Thanks for sticking with us. We hope you got some ideas to help build your own financial stability.
Peace out.